position. Ironically, only about 4 of the City team were born here, most of them coming from the country. Tees Toyota country team, led out by their coach Barry Muir, led by, in the game today, by Toowoomba's lock forward, 25-year-old Trevor Doonerman, who's behind Barry Muir wearing number 8 jersey, and Doonerman looks a very good prospect indeed. Dashing halfback in the lineup is Noel Balderson, originally from Longreach, but now resident in Mackay. Balderson there at number 7 is 24 years of age, and we all remember his brilliant display here 2 years ago. One of the many newcomers in the country team is centre Tony Byrne from Bundaberg Brothers, who's wearing number 4 jersey, and he's the baby of the side at 18 years of age. Well, the news is that the star Brisbane lock, Wally Lewis, has a virus and won't be able to take the field. He's been replaced by Norm Carr. It's very warm and humid here today after the rain at Lang Park. We've got a good crowd of about 14,000 or so people, and I think City will just about win. Here's Johnny Brown.
Well, City should win this match. They play football of this standard much more often and more regularly than do the country players. For country to win, country will have to play well above themselves today. Let's look at the two teams. Firstly, the City side. The fullback is Neil, the wingers Davidson and Backer. Close and Meninga are in the centres. McQuirter's the standoff, Strudwick the scrum half. Norm Carr in 16 is at lock forward. Quint and Obst in the second row. McGuinness, Hoffman and Brown form the front row. And the coach is Henry Holloway. And now the Tees Toyota countryside. Daisy's the fullback, the wingers Green and Hetherington, Dean and Byrne in the centres, Kelly's the 5'8", Balderson is half-back, Duneman the lock forward, Dowling and Marinan are in the second row, Radek, Ash and Tarry are in the front row, and Barry Muir is the coach of the countryside.
The match started at a fairly lively pace with Meninga kicking a penalty goal for City after 3 minutes and Hetherington for country in the 6th minute. We start play in the 10th minute with the score 2-2. Meninga into the dummy half position. Norm Carr's outside of him, or rather the 5'8", and then player coming up in support is Al McGuinness. Brown. Strudwick. Turned back inside to Quinn. Just short of the halfway mark, the final tackle is on. Hooker gives it to Strudwick. McQuirter's outside of him and following quickly through there and takes it McQuirter. Well done, back to Strudwick. Some clever play from the Valleys players there. Gets the pass away to Backer. Backer juggles with that one and then goes down of his own accord, gets up and is able to go again. And Backer is able to go over and score that try, a remarkable try. The first try to City, and City lead 5-2.
Well, absolutely no cover defence coming from the countryside after the kick went across. The kick had drawn in the cover defence, and we can see that Backer could almost stop, lie down, get up again and run on and score this try. Let's watch it now. Strudwick's the man that made it initially. There's the long pass to Backer, and somehow the ball came loose and he just juggled it on the ground, up again, and there wasn't a country defender within metres of him.
Mal Meninga attempting this conversion. City leading 5-2 after 12 minutes of play. Country 5'8" Ray Kelly in having a few problems. He's been down a few times in the match and just had some attention behind the goalpost as Meninga attempts this kick at goal. This conversion attempt, and there it goes, and waved away. So the score remains City 5, Tees Toyota Country 2. Hoffman's up there in the dummy half position. Dave Brown. Good low tackle from Dean that stopped his progress. Strudwick to McQuirter. McQuirter turning it across to McGuinness. McGuinness running strongly. Got the support outside of him close. Close running strongly down the touchline. Back inside it goes then, but knocked down. And loose ball picked up by the winger for country, and that's Warren Green on that far side. And Warren Green in possession. But some very good play from City then, with Chris Close having a great run on that touchline. Referee indicating a penalty to country against City trying to drag the ball away from the player, and so country will take a penalty.
Yes, and relieve the situation somewhat for them. A good pass there by Al McGuinness that set Close away down that left-hand touchline.
Warren Green finds touch on the quarter line, repeating Ray Kelly off the field, replaced by Bob Lacey as they get the run round here for Wally Tarry. Willie Tarry. Now the locks pass and back to his front row forward Radek.
I think he's lost the ball.
Yes, lost it. He couldn't believe it, Radek, that he'd lost the ball there as Dave Brown sends it across to McGuinness, and McGuinness then to Backer. Tackle by Green. And on it comes to second row forward Tony Obst. Crunch as he runs into Radek and co. Cross to Strudwick, and onto the ball comes Quinn. Dave Brown's dummy half. And back it goes, but intercepted by the country player coming through. And shot for Hoffman then as he lost that pass. It was Doonan that took the ball, and this is the halfback, Balderson. Noel Balderson to play it back to Dowling, the second row forward for country, who's caught by Dave Brown, but gets his pass away to his hooker, Ash. Dowling up there again, and onto the ball comes Radek. George Radek, as I mentioned before, 29 years of age and from Mount Isa, originally from Germany, of Russian parents, but he tells us he was born in Germany. As it comes down to Neil and the City fullback to run it up to the halfway mark, and over the top of him comes Willie Tarry. Strudwick, McWhirter outside of him, and then the centres. This is close and close. Flipping right to Meninga. A beautiful pass to Meninga. Meninga's got the fullback, Frank Daisy, to beat. Looks for the support, breaks through with the pass. That comes it back to the Davidson up alongside of him, coming inside. But some nice play then from the centres. Lovely pass from Chris Close.
Yes, a great pass to put Meninga away, but Meninga couldn't position Davidson. There was plenty of defence there. I think Meninga would have done better had he come directly across the field, vertically across the field towards the touchline, and brought Davidson on the inside.
And from the scrum, it's a penalty to City against that front row, and so it's a penalty to City about 10 metres in from touch, it would seem, with City leading 5-2.
Looks as though they're going to keep the pressure on.
Yes. Not worrying about the kick at goal, with McNeil finding touch 10 metres short of the line, just waiting for that second kick as Dave Brown takes it up. Now that's Hoffman up into the dummy half position and decides to go on his own, as country players were very keen in moving up then and leaving a gap, but the fullback was there to pull him down. Across to Strudwick, further on to McWhirter, out then to the fullback into the line, picked up beautifully by Meninga off his toes, and into Backer. Backer flashes for the corner, comes back inside and gets across the line, and that's the second try as Backer scores it, and City lead 8-2.
Well, there was plenty of cover there that time, but Backer wrong-footed them, came back on the inside to score the try. But here's good handling by the back line. There was one man missed out with McNeil coming in. Let's watch it now as the ball goes. That's Hoffman having a go on his own. The defence had come up very quickly there. And now McGuinness goes into that acting halfback spot. Out it goes through Strudwick to McWhirter. McWhirter misses out a man to Neil. Neil beautifully picked up by Meninga. A good pass to Backer. Backer goes for the corner. 3 or 4 country players there, and in he comes to score the try back on the inside.
Mal Meninga attempting the conversion. 19 minutes of play. City leading by 8 points to 2. 8 metres in from touch. A good high kick from Meninga, but waved away. Score remains City 8, Tees Toyota Country 2. Hetherington restarts for country. And Davidson, the right winger for City, having a great run. Certainly the defence holding right off play Davidson, and he was allowed to run within 10 metres of the halfway mark. Strudwick, McWhirter out to support that, Quinn losing it, and picked up by country. That's the lock forward and captain, Duneman, and Dowling to play it back. Balderson's there, and now Tarry. Ash, Balderson, and this is the new player on the field, Lacey, who replaced Kelly. Ash and Duneman. Good kick from Duneman. It's a beautiful kick, as a matter of fact. A metre out from that corner post.
There doesn't seem to be much cohesion between the countryside. There's no continual play. There's nobody seems to be moving the ball from the ruck. The forwards are taking it up strongly, and then nothing's happening from there.
And it's Ross Strudwick to put the ball in. Strudwick, and it's a penalty to country, not in straight.
See what country are going to do here.
City leading 8-2 after 21 minutes of play, and country give the ball to Willie Tarry, who's just going to take the tap, and Tarry trying to force his way through. Ash is up there, the hooker, and running onto it comes Radek, George Radek, and only centimetres away from the line. Ash, and away it goes then to his lock, Duneman. And this time Terry trying to force his way through it. He got over too, and he put the ball down the first try for Country, and City lead 8-5.
Well, certainly a gutsy effort from Country to come back and score that try, and showed great determination in doing it, but not a lot of football skills shown here as they just charge away at the ruck. There's one pass and the tackle's made. That's Duneman. Here we go again. That's Radek going in. No passing. Oh, that was Willie Tarry going in, and that's the try scored, but no passing at the ruck at all.
Wayne Hetherington attempts the conversion, and it's right in front, and up go the flags. And the score is City 8, Tees Toyota Country 7. McNeil to restart play for City. City running from the southern end of the ground in the first half, as it goes down to Frank Daisy, the 26-year-old from Mount Isa. And the Daisy's well known in football in North Queensland. Of course, Vern Daisy, his brother, is captain coach of Wanderers in Mount Isa. And as the pass comes across then to the lock, Duneman. Ash, and that's Willie Tarry. Daisy's only handled the ball, I think it's the first time in the match. That's right. Country across to the half-back, and then to the replacement 5'8" to Tony Dean, and the pass coming astray as the referee indicating offside. It's a penalty to City as Tony Dean came through.
Well, that's quite within the range of Mal Meninga, but I think City will kick the touch and go for the try.
Neil taking the kick for the line, 12 metres inside Country territory. City leading 8-7 after 23 minutes of play. And finds touch as the winger Hetherington jumped high to pull it down, but then the touch judge put his flag up, and of course he's awarding a scrum in that area. 12 metres out from the Country line. It's a Country ball. Balderson, Norm Carr following him across as McQuirter takes him. Duneman, Dowling, tackled by McQuirter, and also Norm Carr stole the ball from him, and the referee indicating a penalty against that. Well, it looked fair enough to me.
Yes, the rule is that the player must go in and attempt to tackle. He can't go in there with the prime objective of stealing the ball, and that's what the referee
I suppose, yes, you could say that he didn't really make any attempt to tackle him, did he? He was as you were saying, John, had his mind set purely on stealing the ball,
yes.
and so it's a penalty to Country. It's just over the quarter line as Balderson will take this second kick. Gives it to his hooker Ash, back to Balderson, then to Duneman, and down the middle comes Radek. Radek getting good support, good short pass to Dowling up alongside of him, and Dowling tackled by the 5'8" McQuirter, and also Dave Brown, the front rower for City. Across to Duneman. Duneman stopped by Norm Carr, playing in the lock-forward position with Wally Lewis, suffering from a virus infection, unable to take his place in the lineup today. This is Balderson, and Balderson is caught by Dave Brown. Front row forwards, picking up halfbacks. This is Willie Tarry, and got a bit of a whack across the face, didn't he, as he went over the halfway mark, out to Balderson. Further out then to the replacement Lacey coming in, and the fullback lost the ball, and it's a City ball with McQuirter picking it up for City. That's Strudwick up into the dummy half position, across into the second row forward Obbs, then to Miguel McGuinness, the front rower out wide. McGuinness breaks one tackle, puts his knees and everything into the opponents coming at him, but he's pulled down 30 metres out. Bly Davidson dummy half position, Strudwick McQuirter, and a longer pass then to Meninga out wide, and trying to get away from that tackler as he looked too close, but it's Meninga who plays it back. And this is the fullback. Brisbane not very well organised then for a moment, as Neil didn't have anyone to pass
at all.
Across from dummy half goes Hoffman. The final tackle is on. Brown sends it on to Strudwick, and Strudwick puts it up. Balderson takes it neatly, and it's a penalty. What was that for?
Must have been for tackle on Strudwick after he kicked the ball.
Yes.
Somebody being
The
called.
crowd starting to boo here, John, indicating that they think it was a bit of an act, but apparently I was following the ball. I didn't see what happened. Did you see him get knocked over?
No, I was watching the ball too. Dowling's the offender, or the one that being adjudged guilty anyway.
After 27 minutes of play, City lead Tees Toyota Country 8 points to 7, with McNeil attempting this penalty kick in front, about 24 metres back. Some of the crowd, about 14,000, still booing that decision, indicating that they felt that Ross Strudwick was putting on an act further back, that being knocked down behind the play. And there's the kick by Neil, and it raises the flags, and City go to a lead of 10 points to 7. Hetherington restarts play, Country trailing by 3 points as the ball goes down to Bligh Davidson. And Davidson just over the quarter line. Tackled by Doonerman. And this is Quinn, the second row for City. Dowling over the top, and underneath was Lacey. This is Brown. Tackled by the hooker Ash, with assistance from Dowling again, doing plenty of work. Hoffman's up there in the dummy half position, decides to run on his own, Jay Hoffman, and back it comes to the support, and that's Carr, Norm Carr, in 16 jersey. Strudwick's there, McQuirter, and close, Meninga, and here's Davidson, here's the fullback rather, into the line. Davidson outside of him, this is Neil, up to the halfway mark. Davidson up into the dummy half position. McQuirter's inside of him, and McQuirter putting the kick over the top. The fullback's coming across to cover it as Meninga comes through, but Frank Daisy losing the ball, and picked up very quickly, and then shot out to Backer. Backer flies to the corner, cover defence coming across, but Backer's going to make it his third try. That's his third try, and City lead 13-7.
Quick thinking Ross Strudwick, a nice little quick by McQuirter that the fullback Daisy couldn't handle, and Strudwick picked up the ball, was in the clear himself, knew he didn't have the pace, but knew that man, the man that just shook hands there, the left winger Brad Backer did have. There's a nice little kick, just probably a little deep there. Meninga puts Daisy under pressure, hits him, he drops the ball, the other Country player was offside, and Strudwick straight to Backer and said, there son, you've got the pace, you score it, and score it he does.
McNeil attempting the conversion of that third try by Backer. It's a very long kick, and from that difficult part of the ground from which to kick goals, right on the sideline, just outside the quarter line, and he can kick this one. He's a great kicker. It's dropping down, and no chance that one, not getting the distance either. It's Hetherington making that mistake, not finding the 10. Eventually it finds the 10 metres. It looked as if it wouldn't, and Country pick up the ball after all that. So they had the luck on their side there as it comes across to the front row forward. Braddock to Balderson, the half-back up alongside of him. Shrugs off a couple of tacklers. Ash, the hooker, distributes. Dowling outside of him. Dowling's up to the quarter line, breaking out of some pretty weak tackles then. Eventually giving it the support up alongside of him was the second row forward up there with him, and slipping it back to Doonerman. Doonerman running strongly back to the fence. Doonerman races over for the second try for Country, and City lead 13-10.
Well, defence certainly hasn't been the strong point in this match, and let's watch the City side now, missing tackles. It's a very determined run by Doonerman as the crowd goes wild. Let's watch now. Ash onto the halfback Balderson, back inside to Doonerman, and there's about 3-4 missed City tackles.
Wayne Hetherington attempting this easy conversion, almost in front, and he's hooked it away. A very bad kick. City leading Country 13 points to 10. McNeil setting it to restart play. City with a slender 3-point lead. Kick deep down to Frank Daisy, allowing it to go past him this time rather than take any chances. Hooker Ash is there, and Doonerman running outside of him. City player hurt. There was Norm Carr in that tackle, left on the ground, and it's a penalty against City up inside the 5 metres. A penalty to Country, with Norm Carr now getting back to his feet again, seemingly okay again.
Well, this is what Country need, a few breaks to go their way at this stage, and they can certainly fight their way right back into this match, and they're not out of it at this stage, of course, at 13-10.
Warren Green found touch as Balderson gives it to Ash, and the run rounds on. Willie Tarry really flying through at his top. And across to the hooker, to the lock, and then to Dowling. Dowling's got the support up alongside of him is Lacey. Hooker Ash is there, and Dowling was actually on the City side, as you'd have noticed then, behind McQuirter, as player comes racing through Frank Daisy to pick up the loose ball, and across it comes from the half-back then to Dean and the centres. Dean bottled up by Meninga and company, close as the main tackler in there. Ash into the dummy half position. Blindside to Tarry. Tarry standing in the tackle and getting it back to his hooker, who's swooped on immediately by Close and company. Across to Balderson. 6 tackles to go, indicates referee Joe Ticehurst from the Gold Coast as the hit a Brisbane player. And back to Dowling, stepping and tries to get inside that player, but that's Close, who's doing a lot of tackling there, John.
Yes, he's in the middle of the ruck.
Yes, he's working like a forward in there, isn't he? As McQuirter comes in with the hooker, Jay Hoffman, to pull down Doonerman. the country skipper, then to Balderson. Daisy's up there from full-back and turning it back to Balderson. Picked up by McQuirter and also Jay Hoffman. Ash and now Warren Green. Making a break almost for the moment over the halfway mark. He gets it back to Dowling. Dowling picked up by Al McGuinness eventually, taken ball and all, with assistance from Dave Brown, the other prop forward to Balderson. Picked it up on the half volley, and this is the Lacey, the replacement, and that's the 6th tackle. So the scrum to pack down 10 metres inside City territory. City leading 13-10, 5 minutes before half time. The penalties, the scrum stand at 2 each, and the penalties 6-5 to City. So there's nothing in those departments. Very even, and not much in the game on the scoreboard either. It's a penalty against City collapsing the scrum. It's a penalty to country.
One wonders what would happen to a Queensland side with players selected from this match if they defend the way they are today, if they were playing against New South Wales.
And another penalty against City up inside the 5 metres as they took that penalty country. And so it's another penalty as Doonerman takes it over the quarter line and looking just about breaks through. Some weak defence again. Very determined effort nevertheless from Doonerman, the Toowoomba lock forward out there, as it goes out to Balderson to see his supports are covered and decides to take the tackle himself. Tackle by Norm Carr. And that's Lacey, further out to Daisy, the full-back. And here's Tony Dean, the centre from the Gold Coast, really wrapped up by Tony Obstin as he came through, and a good wrap-up tackle, certainly stopped him in his tracks, as Balderson sends it straight on then to Marinan flying through, is it? No, it's Radic. And Radic, and he's played it back onto his hooker, moving it comes to no one, finally picked up by Lacey, and Lacey breaks one tackle and gets going 10 metres out. Plenty of determination from the countryside there. There's a boot being picked up and hurled away. I don't know who lost it. As out it comes to Balderson. Balderson looks and then decides to go on his own, turns it back to second row Marinan, and Marinan on the 6th tackle, 10 metres out. But not giving the ball much room, country, John.
No, they're not moving the ball wide of the rucks at all. It's being contained right around the rucks, and the backs aren't getting much room to move.
Lacey is injured away from the play, the country player, the replacement, as it's country ball, and Balderson is there. Wrapped up by Carr, and Strudwick was there. Carr, the main tackler, only a few metres out. It's Dowling in the dummy half position, trying to crash through. Big Al McGuinness, the main tackler. The hooker is up there as well as someone else in the dummy half position, and here comes a lock ball. Doonerman scraped over for the 3rd try and his 2nd try, and it's 13-all, even Stevens.
Well, this is a great fight back by country. Tremendous determination. They're not playing the open football that City are playing, but the result's on the board, and all they need to do is point to the scoreboard and say we mightn't be as attractive, but we're certainly putting points on the board. And here it is now, taking the ball up, ruck after ruck, couldn't get out, and he comes, and there he is, in and scores the try.
Wayne Hetherington, an important conversion in front. It will give country the lead if he can kick this one, and there it goes, and up go the flags, and country hit the front, leading City 15-13. McNeil to restart play for City. Down to Doonerman. And what a game he's had today, the 25-year-old Toowoomba lock. Ash, the hooker, is up there to distribute, and Tarry runs onto him. Really Tarry with plenty of energy as he runs into Dave Brown, and also the winger, Blythe Davidson, was probably the main tackler in there. And this is Radic, short pass then to the player up alongside of him, and running in a bit of trouble then was Lacey. Costa Balderson, and 2nd row Dowling. Brown and also McGuinness with the tacklers, the 2 front rowers for City, as that's Lacey, outside of him Dean in the centres. Tony Burns not getting much of a look in there, the other centre, the Bundaberg lad, playing at outside centre. There he is, moving up towards dummy half, but it's a penalty against that arm coming across against Strudwick, and it's a penalty to country, about 8 metres inside City territory. Might be able to see that again.
Yes, I was wondering, was it Strudwick or was it Tony Hobbs? Hobbs certainly charged in there.
But it appeared to be Strudwick, I think, John.
Let's look at it now. Here he goes. Yeah, I think it was the other fellow, Tony Hobbs, number 10, that got him.
Yeah, I think you might be right, the way that looked there. They were both there, but it certainly looked like Tony Hobbs, so I agree with you now. And after all that, we'll see Wayne Hetherington taking the penalty kick at goal for Country right on half-time. Country leading by 2 points now. It's a long kick, and it goes under the crossbar as City will bring the ball up, and that's the fullback McNeil. Losing the ball too, and dived on by another City player, the hooker Hoffman, coming in, but the knock-on to be played, and so a scrum will pack down on City's quarter line with the Country leading 15-13. The half-time hooter about to sound. The Queensland team will be announced tomorrow night, or the Queensland squad to play New South Wales here on Tuesday week, and it's a penalty to Country from the scrum. Wayne Hetherington attempting this penalty kick 24 metres back right in front. Country leading by 2 points, and now 4 as Country go to a half-time break, leading 17-13. Hetherington restarts play for Country as it goes deep down to Davidson. Across to Dave Brown. Country with a handy lead of 4 points at half-time, 17 points to 13, and Tony Obst picking up a few metres before being stopped. Tony Dean, the centre, was one of the tacklers in there. That's Hoffman running over the halfway mark. Al McGuinness straight up the middle, and look at the gap there for McGuinness. That was just too easy, wasn't it? 30 metres out. Pass across to Strudwick and then to Quinn, the second rower. Quinn stopped by Tony Byrne in good wrap-up tackle, certainly stopped him in his tracks. And that's a 6 tackle, so we'll have a scrum.
He should have given it because City had a man over to the left-hand side, and Meninga was completely unmarked on his left.
And the penalty to City. Well, they take the kick and goal.
Country for packing on the angle, I think that was, not packing straight.
Not worrying about the kick at goal. We're seeing Neil taking the kick for the line. City trailing by 4 points, and that takes play 10 metres out from the Country line. The ball given to Hoffman, the hooker, and running onto it, Brown losing the ball, and the advantage in the second row forward. Dowling is in possession for Country. And this is Marinan, the other second rower, but it's a penalty. Penalty to against the City player standing up. Another penalty to, or the penalty to Country. That's the winger, Warren Green, to take the penalty kick for the line. Second kick to be taken by hooker Ash, and running onto the ball is George Raddick. Up to the quarter line. Ash and Terry. Caught by Obst and company. The other one was Al McGuinness. Balderson's on the outside, but it comes across to the lock, and Doonerman is trapped and losing the ball, dived on by another Country player, by a City player rather, I should say, Dave Brown, and this is Backer, who's trying to make progress up to the quarter line. Backer, of course, a former Country player himself from Wide Bay, as McGuinness turns it back again to Tony Obst. Obst partly breaking from a tackle for a moment, but then was held by the front row forward onto McGuinness. McGuinness trying to drive into Dowling with his hip. Dowling hulls to him with assistance from the second row, Marinan, and City are 12 metres out in the line. And the referee indicating that he had knocked the ball on, so we'll have a scrum. So it's the Country halfback Balderson's ball into the scrum, but it's the City ball straight onto Carr, the lock forward. Carr running strongly, gives the pass across to Backer. Backer dives for the line and got the ball down. Yes, it's a try. That's his fourth try to Backer. And City draw within 1 point of Country. Country leading 17 points to 16.
Well, Backer will be wondering how long this has been going on. He hasn't had a field day like this for a long, long time, but it was a set move at the back of the scrum, the switch between the scrum half and the lock forward. Watch number 7, Strudwick, run to the right and give it to Carr coming back the other way. There it is. He could almost score the try himself, gave it to Backer, and the winger had been wrong-footed in defence, and Backer went in to score the try.
5 minutes of play into the second half. Meninga attempting the conversion of that fourth try by Backer. It's an important kick, but right on the touchline, and there it goes, and it's not coming back. And so Country hold a 1 point lead, 17-16. We rejoin play a few minutes later with no change in the score. Yes, it's a Country hooker's ball. Ash, Hoffman's not having his best day today as Frank Daisy comes away with it, the fullback for Country. Ash and Willie Tarry. And losing the ball, picked up again by Dowling, but of course the knock-on to be played. The Country hooker, Jeff Ash, is having, plays with Ipswich, is having the better of the duel between the hookers out there, John.
There's no doubt about that. He's a better player in the open, and I like the way he gets rid of the ball very quickly from that acting halfback position.
The scrum standing at 3-all as it comes back to Country. That's 4-3 to Country now with Balderson in possession. Trevor Durnan, dummy half. And that's the centre, the replacement, Lacey. Rob Lacey, Durnan. Ash. Ball, the replace, yes, Balderson it was. To the player coming inside was Radek, and his pass going astray, so we'll have the scrum for the knock-on.
There wasn't a great deal of pressure there from the City defence, a mistake being made without pressure.
Now it's Balderson's ball into the scrum. Referee Joe Ticehurst saying a few words. And it's a penalty. Not in straight, penalty to City. Mal Meninga attempts his penalty kick at goal that would give City the lead. Country leading 17-16 after 15 minutes of play in the second half. Jeff Naylor's on the sideline for City, about to replace possibly Dave Brown. Not sure. There's Meninga's kick. And waved away. So another relatively easy kick has gone astray, and Country hold their 1-point lead of 17 points to 16. Mal Meninga has kicked only 1 goal from 5 attempts. So certainly having a bad day in the goal-kicking department. Frank Daisy is going to take the dropout for Country, and down it goes past Quinn and on to Naylor. There's the new player on the field. Jeff Naylor, he replaces Dave Brown, and Naylor is wearing 17 jersey. And it's an all in there, and players coming in from all sides.
I'd say that Jeff Naylor came out second best there.
And as a result of that, City have been given a penalty, 10 metres inside Country territory. And the fullback Mick Neal takes that penalty kick for the line and takes play just inside Tees Toyota Country's quarter line with the second kick to be taken. And a delay, and away goes the hooker. About 14 metres out. That's Alan McGuinness up the dummy half to Strudwick, and running onto the ball comes Naylor. Hoffman, and Hoffman going on his own once again. Naylor, Strudwick, and McWhirter is there, and onto the ball comes Chris Close, really bursting through the centre, but can't get through that defence. And Tony Byrne, one of the tacklers. Dowling was the other one in there as Strudwick's pass goes to McWhirter, further out then to Quinn, putting it down the second row forward, picked up by the other Brisbane player, but the knock-on to be played.
Yes, and he's mishandled quite a lot in this match, is Greg Quinn, the second rower, either losing the ball in the tackle or mishandling.
Still, words of instruction from Joe Ticehurst. And it's another ball, but we'll have it into the scrum again. The scrums stand at 4-3 to Country. Country leading by 1 point. It's a Country ball, so it's 5-3 in the scrums as the little halfback Balderson plays it back. That's Dowling up into the dummy half position. Tony Obst was the tackler of that previous one. Dowling stopped by Hoffman around the ankles, and front row Al McGuinness, but he's been injured. Knocked on, and I thought he was injured as well, but it's knocked on, so we'll have a scrum on the Country quarter line. Waiting for the ball to go in, and it's a City ball. Strudwick, and it's a penalty against the halfback, being ruled offside, not retiring. It's a penalty to City. Mick Neal taking this penalty kick at goal, some 10 metres closer than perhaps it should be, and that's what the crowd have been roaring for this last minute or so. As Mick Neal comes in, he's going to get booed for the kick purely because of that referee facing it. There's a roar from the crowd as he's missed the kick, and Country will bring it back to the 22-metre line. What did you think of that, John, that placement of that penalty kick?
Yes, well, the penalty should have been given where the scrum was packed down, which is on the 10-metre line, 10 metres in from the touchline, and he took it almost into centre field and gave the penalty in there.
And the ball goes down to Blythe Davidson, and the City winger is up towards the halfway mark. It's fairly hazy at Lang Park. You perhaps can't see it on television, but it's surprising how hazy it is as Jeff Naylor takes it up over the halfway mark. A little bit misty, and seems to be traces of fog or smoke or something across the ground. This is Al McGuinness running it up. 8 metres inside country territory. Hoffman's up there this time to distribute to Strudwick, and McQuirter outside of him, and caught by Tarry and company, and McQuirter saying, "I'm going to play the ball." Yes, away you go. Strudwick and Naylor. Naylor's pass to Meninga, straight on into the fullback. Neil taking it beautifully too, and the fifth tackle has been indicated from the referee, so we're on the final tackle. Davidson up there into the dummy half position. Strudwick's there, and up it goes off the side of his boot, and the crowd having a good old laugh about that one as Quinn, the second rower, takes it for City, and down he goes. So now we'll have the scrum for the sixth tackle.
And going back to that ruck before, when Strudwick put the kick up, that was one of the best passes I've seen from the acting halfback on the City side today, and it was thrown by Blythe Davidson, the winger, and that's where City's lacking in this match. They're getting very slow ball from the acting halfback.
And it's a penalty. The crowd not agreeing with it. It's a penalty right in front to City. They've missed their last two kicks in front, but they've got another chance, and Duneman looks quite disgusted about all that. And City decided against taking that kick at goal and just kicked for the line to keep the pressure on, and up comes the front row forward, Al McGuinness. Greg Kinescu's on the sideline, the hooker for City, so perhaps he might come on too as Strudwick sends it across then to Tony Obbs. Obbs only 10 metres out the line, looks for the support. There's Mal McGuinness. On it comes to McQuirter, the 5'8". McQuirter can't get through as he's wrapped up then, and loose ball picked up then by Naylor. Naylor charging through, and he's a try for City, and City have hit the front. Naylor's through.
But he's ruled no try. He ruled
try.
A knock on. Yes, well, here's a bad decision by the referee, because he ruled play on originally and then ruled a knock on. Now, if he ruled play on, it should have been allowed. I agree, it was a knock on.
Yes, he certainly ruled play on, and so we'll have a scrum. So Country still leading City by 1 point, 17-16. Only 18 minutes left in the game. And still Kinescu is on the sideline. The City hooker. It's a penalty against not in straight the half-back, and the crowd here are certainly pro-Country. They're not very happy about some of these decisions, and you'd think they'd be pro-City, wouldn't you? Unless all the people have come down from the Country. McNeil has his penalty kick at goal set right in front. City should hit the front this time after missing two kicks in front. Country leading by 1 point at this moment, and up go the flags. And City lead by 18 points to 17 from the mixed cheers and boos of this crowd of about 14,000 people here today at Lang Park. And from the kick-off, it's Blythe Davidson, the winger for City, in possession. Greg Kinescu is on the field, replacing Hoffman in the City lineup. And Barry Muir, I understand, has just made a complaint. That's Naylor. Barry Muir has just made a complaint about Henry Holloway being allowed on the sideline a few moments ago. Is that right, John?
Yes, he did, yes. And Henry was there trying to get Kinescu on the field, and Muir came out and objected. And
across it comes to close over the halfway mark. There's Kinescu up into the dummy half position now. Strudwick is there. And across to Quinn, the second row. Quinn well and truly stopped by Dowling and also the front row forward, Tarry. And we'll have a scrum for the sixth tackle. Just inside Country territory. And it's a Country ball, Balderson. And Strudwick gets to him and takes him ball and all. That's Duneman up into the dummy half position. Strudwick leaves himself on the ground. Across towards Frank Daisy was, but it's picked up by Tony Dean, the centre. And he's tackled by Kinescu and also McQuirter, probably the main tackler in there. Then to Dowling. And away from Kinescu's tackle, as he just couldn't get to his ankles. Tackled by Tony Obst and also Al McGuinness, one of the tacklers. This is Duneman, straight up the front, the middle. Ash. Balderson, second row Mariden, good strong player, but stopped by the second row Quinn and also McQuirter lending a hand. Tony Burns running from dummy half to centre. Down the sixth tackle, so we'll have a scrum just inside City territory. City leading by the bare 1 point, 18-17 in the try scoring department. We see that City have scored 4 tries to 2, is it? 4 tries to 3. Strudwick's ball in, and it's Balderson. It's a penalty against Balderson, ruled offside, in an offside position.
Yes, not retiring at the base of the scrum, and there he is. A little cock rooster, this fellow. He won't take a backward step to anybody.
And the kick by Neil for the line. Scrum penalties goes 7-0 to City in the second half. Overall penalties 8-2 in the second half, and but the total penalties 14-11 to City. Scrums in favour of Country by 6-3. City just outside the quarter line. Jeff Naylor taking it up. Strudwick. And that's Quinn, the second row forward. Quinn running strongly and looking for the inside pass, or into touch. Only about 12 metres out the line.
Yes, and it's still not good concentrated attack from either side. We haven't seen any real good, clean ball handling at the edge of the ruck.
And it's a penalty. The roar from the crowd. City collapsing the scrum. It's a penalty to Country. And Country, as we mentioned before, with plenty of supporters here saying it was about time we got a penalty. And so Country have been given the penalty. There's a replacement. McQuirter's leaving the field, and we'll have a replacement for him shortly as we watch that penalty kick
Mark Murray is on.
Mark Murray is already on, is he? Mark Murray's on the field, the replacement for McQuirter, as Will Tarry takes it up. Ash in the dummy half position, and back it comes to Doonerman. Trevor Doonerman. Ash, Balderson, and this time the second row forward down. Balderson, and back into Willie Tarry. Balderson, and Lacey's pass across to Tony Dean in the centres. And the Gold Coast centre, played back to Lacey. Stopped by Dean, and that's the 6 scrum, so we'll 6 tackles, so we'll have a scrum.
That's better defence from the City side. Country have made no advancement at all in the last 2 6 tackles that they've had when in possession.
So we've only got about 10 minutes left in the match, and there's only 1 point in the game, and it's a penalty to Country against Canescu. Foot across in the scrum, indicated referee Joe Ticehurst, and so Country will take the kick for the line. That's Green. And finding touch 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Tice Toyota Country leading, trailing by 1 point. City leading 18-17. 10 minutes left in the match as Willie Tarry takes it up to the halfway mark. Ash, and this time it's Radek. Well, Radek losing the ball, towed through by the hooker, but picked up by Carr. And this is Strudwick. On halfway, Carr's there, and there's the replacement player from Norths, as City will play it back on the halfway mark. Canescu, the other Norths players, up there in that dummy half position as Quinn played it back, and this time Tony Obst having a run, getting it back to McGuinness, then to Canescu, losing the ball, so we'll have a scrum for the knock-on.
Yes, there's no understanding at all there in that City side. There's no cohesion.
And dived on by Strudwick. Play on. And this is the fullback, Mick Neal, up there. Tackle by Green on the wing. Norm Carr to distribute. And this time Mark Murray breaks the first tackle, the replacement 5/8 from McQuirter. Canescu, Strudwick, and slipping it straight on then to the centre. Tony Dean racing through, I should say Chris Close. Close racing through with the curly hair waving in the breeze for a moment. Close about 15 metres out from the line. Onto Strudwick. Strudwick looks across and back inside again to Canescu, and Canescu is only about 6 metres out. Close up there, Strudwick. And that little kick that bounces off a player, pulled down by Neil, racing through, and he puts the ball down for a try, and Neil has scored, and City lead by 21 points to 17.
Well, City starting to get going a little there, and it was only because of Strudwick getting totally involved in the game. And it was a couple of rucks previous to this that Strudwick made the break, and then Konescu carried it on. And then from this ruck, we see Strudwick attempt to put a little one over that I think comes off the side of his boot. That's the one before to Konescu. Good pass, and Konescu taking it up strongly. Close goes into the acting halfback position.
17.
Strudwick's on the right-hand side of the ruck, straight to Strudwick. A little one over the top. It comes off the inside of the boot, but it's picked up out of the air beautifully by Neil, and he goes in to score the try.
Mick Neil attempting this very long conversion, only a metre or so in from touch. City leading 21 points to 17, and it drops down in front. 21-17 to City. Hetherington restarts play for Country as it goes down to Bly Davidson, and the winger takes it up to the quarter line where he's tackled by Doonerman. Mark Murray's up into the dummy half position for City. Mal Meninga is off the field, being replaced by Alan Power, and there's a loose ball as Country can't pick it up either. Byrne picking it up eventually, but the no knock on indicated the referee as it comes back to Doonerman, and Doonerman is tackled. There's another replacement in Country. Radek has been replaced by 17 Linnett, and so we're getting quite a few changes in the last moment or two as Balderson, the halfback, knocks it on, so we'll have a scrum this time. So just repeating, Radek replaced by Linnett, 17 for Country, and Meninga is off, replaced by Alan Power. 30 metres out from the City line. It's a City ball as it goes to Power. There's a new player on the field, put down by Close, gathered by Country. Frank Daisy, the fullback, in possession, and he's caught by Brad Backer. Doonerman's up there and losing the ball, and City finished with it. Tony Obst. So it's Obst to play it back, and that's the winger, Bracker. Scored 4 tries today. Konescu's dummy half. Over the top comes Willie Tarry in 13 jersey, and underneath was the second row, Marinin. Across it comes then to Mark Murray. Well tackled by Marinin, it was, getting across again. Then to Strudwick. Quinn, the second row forward, running strongly. Tony Dean, the main tackler, in there. McGuinness striding out now and then runs into the new player onto the field. Strudwick's pass gets it away and puts it down. Dived on, it's Country ball. Dowling, the second rower, to play it back. Tarry and Dean. Dean having troubles with it, but knocked it back.
Ruled knock on by the referee.
Ruled the knock on. Well, the crowd didn't agree either.
No, he was not in a good position to see it, standing on the defensive line.
So the scrum inside Country territory. Country ball, long pass then to Tony Byrne and the centres, and Byrne picked up by 2 players. The fullback was up there, Neil. So too was Mark Murray, the replacement 5'8".
Neil's playing in the centres, I think. He's gone to fullback.
Yes, that's right. There's been a switch around. I just see him coming in there, watching in the glass. I wasn't sure where he was coming from, John. That's right, he's co-centre in there. Across to the lock forward, and then on to Lacey. Tackled by Quinn. Doonerman in the dummy half position. And this is the winger, Green, Warren Green. A Country are 10 metres short of the halfway mark. As shade from the grandstand covers nearly all of the field here at the moment. Balderson looking back and then going on his own. Plenty of tacklers for Noel Balderson. The final tackle is on. City are leading 21-17, 4 minutes before the end of the game, with that ball rebounding and then picked up by Green. But the knock-on has been ruled, of course, and we'll have a scrum just inside Country territory. At half-time, Country led by 17 points to 13, have now trailed 21-17, and from the scrum, it's a penalty to Country.
Yes, and we've had a number of scrums today. How many have we had? We've had 12 from which we've had results, and another 15 from which we've had penalties.
Green finding touch, 8 metres inside City territory as Balderson takes the second kick, and running around again, the moves on to Willie Tarry, and he's pulled down by Tony Obst. moves on. This is Dunimal. Tackled by Quinn. Strudwick coming in to assist with the tackle. The halfback's passed in to Lacey and then to the fullback into the movement. And ball loose on the ground, gathered by Hetherington on the left wing. And so Country still in possession. Pass from Lacey to Lynette and Dowling. Dowling 30 metres out. Strudwick, one of the tacklers with Kinescu. And also Tony Obst. Three City players in there. Balderson. Still plenty of go in him, but losing the ball, and it's a City ball on their quarter line. Kinescu playing it back. Across it comes to Strudwick, then to Neil, and on to Mark Murray. Murray, Neil, and big McGuinness to his other prop forward, Naylor. McGuinness striding through one tackle, breaking out of Lacey's tackle it was. And back is past Strudwick. And across, Quinn couldn't pick it up and shot through the Country, picked up by Balderson. Balderson moving nicely over the quarter line and looked for the support, but couldn't get it away. Tony Burns up into the dummy half position, decides to run from there, the little centre. Only 12 metres out.
He's lost the
City ball. Lost ball in that tackle. It's a City ball. Tony Obst finished with the ball, and so City take it back over the quarter line just when the crowd started to rise to their feet, thinking that Country had some chance of pulling the game out of the fire. With about a minute and a half left, City are leading by 21 points to 17, and it's a penalty to City.
Yes, again, something that happened in that tackle against Ross Strudwick.
Carr has the ball, and Strudwick is going to take this kick. Strudwick finding touch. About 32 metres out from his own line, with Greg Kinescu taking it up. Jeff Naylor's there. Naylor's caught by Lynette and company. And he's strong, isn't he? Jeff Naylor, very experienced front row player these days, even though he's only 23 years of age. As Strudwick sends it wide to McGuinness. Just inside Country territory. Tony Obst. And Tony's deciding that he'll have a run. Tony, of course, a former Country player himself, from a long way back. He came down from Longreach some 12 years ago with Kinescu taking it up. Obst to Strudwick, and Strudwick with that high kick taken by Hetherington. Wayne Davidson driving him into touch, and so it turned out to be a very good kick. Country only a few metres out in their line. City leading 21-17 right on full time.
It's been a very disappointing match, this one, particularly from the selector's point of view, one would feel, because the no player has really been able to show up in this match.
And it's Balderson's pass to Frank Daisy. And there's the full-time hooter sounding now, and the referee is saying that's it for the match, with City winning 21-17.
With 8 tries scored, defence wasn't the keynote in this match. Our Winfield ABC winner for this weekend, for the try of the weekend, goes to the man Brad Backer, that scored 4 tries, and it was for this one his second.
Well, that's Hoffman up into the dummy half position, and decides to go on his own, as Country players were very keen in moving up then and leaving a gap, but the fullback was there to pull him down. Across to Strudwick, further on to McWhirter, out then to the fullback into the line, picked up beautifully by Meninga off his toes, and into Backer. Backer flashes for the corner, comes back inside and gets across the line, and that's the second try as Backer scores it, and City lead 8-2.